Welcome to the 8th video in the course, Validator and Governance Staking. So we've already been going over some methods to start creating some passive income and loans. And now we're going to get into some more staking ways of, to create some passive income, and that is Validator and Governance Staking. They're kind of interchangeable, Validator and Governance Staking. It's kind of an interchangeable term. But anyway, in the beginning, we talked about, in the beginning of the course, we talked of how Bitcoin is the mother of all cryptos, and every crypto after it is pretty much an attempt at bettering its concept, which is simply, decentralization, security, and, open to the public, and of course, innovation. But as we also mentioned, there are 18,000 plus cryptos out there. But before we can get into staking some of these 18,000 coins, we should have a brief understanding of how it is possible to stake and how it works, so that you are making a financially educated decision and not just following the trend. A lot of people just get into investments in crypto space and start to invest in things like Doge or Shiba Inu, which aren't necessarily crap coins anymore. They're starting to have more utility, but back when they were nothing more than a name and a meme, literally a meme, attached to a coin, people were just throwing money at it because Elon Musk was tweeting about it and all that. So I want you to be able to make a financially educated decision, whether it is in DeFi, wherever it is, no matter what investment you're making, it should be educated. You should be educated on that. So then every single one of these 18,000 coins belongs to and or has its own respective blockchain. So we mentioned before also that every single token has its own blockchain, and a blockchain is a storage of data. So every token either belongs to a blockchain or it has its own blockchain. So let me show you what I mean by that. So here's Ethereum. This is the Ethereum ecosystem. It's not the Ethereum ecosystem in its whole. There are some on this that are not on it. But this is, so if you look at some stable coins that are built on Ethereum. So these are on the Ethereum blockchain. So you have TrueUSD, USDC coin, DAI, Frax. These are all stable coins. These are pegged to $1 as we went over. Okay. And so you may have had the understanding that, okay, DAI, since it's a cryptocurrency, has its own blockchain, but that's not the truth. It is built on Ethereum, so it shares the Ethereum blockchain, if that makes sense. Then you have, service providers. These have cryptos attached to them. You have infrastructure and Delve tooling system, OX, and that's a cryptocurrency that I personally like. And so all of these, majority of these, so metamask, that's with Ethereum, and that's one we are aware of now because we set up a wallet through them. But these are all attached to Ethereum, either built on Ethereum or or able to be used with Ethereum. So I just want you to be aware that every cryptocurrency doesn't necessarily have its own blockchain. It is built, some cryptocurrencies are built on some blockchains like this. A lot of these are cryptocurrencies that you may or may not have heard of, but it's important to know that DAI doesn't necessarily have its own blockchain. It is built on the Ethereum blockchain, so it doesn't necessarily have its own. And then also with the XRP ledger, the XRP ledger is just the XRP blockchain. You can think of it that way. But you have BitTrue. These are exchanges. You have BitTrue, Bitstamp, Bittrex. These are where you can purchase them, so don't worry about that. But then these are things that are built on the XRP blockchain. You have Flare. Flare is a big one, and they have their own cryptocurrencies attached to them. Flare does. You have Nexo. This is just where you can get loans through them. But Flare is a good example because that's something we're going to go over pretty deeply in this course later on. And Flare has its own cryptocurrencies within it. So it's just important to know that not every crypto has its own blockchain. It may have its own storage of data, but within the blockchain of another crypto. So to understand Validator and governance staking, we need to know how a blockchain operates. Okay, and so basically, a blockchain is, at its basics, a decentralized public storage of data. We kind of already went over this, but I want to cover it again. So as mentioned before, it can literally be thought of as a chain of blocks, each block having its own set of transactions and data being stored in it. But what blockchains need in order to function is a person to verify that these sets of transactions that are stored within each of these blocks are valid. This is where a validator comes in. The entire process of validating transaction is known as maintaining consensus on a blockchain. And so here is literally what you can think of as the blockchain. It's just a series of blocks on a chain. So within this block here is what I mentioned on the validating. So let's go back to Blockchain Explorer, which we went into in another video. So you see this block here, latest blocks. Here's a block. Let's click on it. Pardon for the loading time. Okay, so within this block, you can see that, let's see here. So the bits, or the size of it was 1,482,000. I don't think that's the amount of transactions though. Yeah, here's the number of transactions. You have 2,970 transactions within this one block. So let's just think of this block as that one right there. So that has 2,970 blocks in it. And those transactions, those 2,970 transactions had to be validated and verified by someone. Okay, and so that's how the blockchain works. There has to be someone validating these transactions to maintain consensus, quote unquote. Okay, and so now there are different types of blockchains out there. And by that, when I say different types of blockchains, I mean that there are different ways of maintaining consensus. So that, which would imply that there would then be different ways of being a validator. So the two types of consensus methods we're going to cover briefly, so as to not make this an entire crash course on the blockchain, are proof of work and proof of stake. So proof of work. Two popular cryptos that you probably know of that use this consensus method are Bitcoin and Ethereum. Proof of work is a method that requires computing power to process and validate transactions. This is where you will hear the term miner. To keep it simple, in this method, people purchase high computing computers that validate transactions, which to do so, their computers run an algorithm that solves a very complex computational puzzle. And the first computer to solve this puzzle is compensated with crypto because they then would be the validator of that block and of that set of transactions. And that is the incentive to be a validator, as it can be lucrative and a good source of income, but requires tons of energy, so it is not as energy efficient as new types such as proof of stake. Okay, so as they stated, or as I stated from research I did to put this together, this is where you will hear the term miner. Okay, so proof of work, they're essentially mining by mining they are using high computing computers to validate transactions within these blocks. So let's go back to our 2,970 transactions in this block right here. A miner had to run their computer to mine, quote unquote, that's just what it's called, to verify and validate those transactions, and they earned crypto in return for that, for being a validator. Okay, and just to show you, so this is just what a miner is, just so you aren't left kind of imagining something. So this is what a miner is. They are specific to a specific crypto. So here's a Bitcoin mining rig. You can buy these and start earning. You have Dogecoin mining rigs, you have Ethereum mining. So let's get into, I just want to show you quickly an example on this. So that you just kind of understand the process of mining. So this mining rig here, lovely ads. So this rig here mines 750 mH a second. If we come over here and look and just do the conversion, so 1 mH, which is a mega hash, 1 mega hash is 1 million hashes. Okay, and so this mining rig here is doing 750 mega hashes. So that would be 750 times a million. So you're doing, with this rig, you're doing 750 million hashes per second. 750 million hashes per second. Okay, and if you look here, this is the Ethereum mining difficulty. It gets more difficult the more people that are trying to mine on it. Okay, and this isn't too particularly for you to understand in full. I just want you to know that, I just want you to kind of have the process in mind so you understand how these blockchains operate. How is this blockchain, how is this, what could be perceived as like a figment of imagination, something intangible? How does it work? And so yeah, the mining difficulty right now is, what is that, 12 quadrillion? And so out of that 12 quadrillion, if you have 10 different miners that are doing this 750 million hashes per second, you may be lucky enough to be the one to complete the computational puzzle first. Whereas, having 750 million out of 12 quadrillion, that's hard to be the first one to it. But if you have enough rigs, and there's more into it, and I don't want to get into it because there's like pools of people that come together and mine together so that they have a better chance of reaping the rewards of mining and validating a chain, or validating a block, excuse me. So I don't want to get into that. I just want you to know that, so there is a thing called hashes, and each one of those hashes is essentially a guess, and it's a guess at solving this computational puzzle, which needs to be solved in order to validate a block on the blockchain. And this block that I just referred to is the one we use as an example, is the 2,970 transactions within this block. So that computational puzzle that needs to be solved in the mining process is done in order to validate these transactions, and the people that do it are compensated with crypto. I hope this is making sense. But just know that is how that validators are very important, and they are literally needed for this blockchain to operate, for the proof of work blockchain to operate. Okay, then secondly, proof of stake. This is the one that I want you to understand more, because this is where we will have the ability to earn crypto without having to expend, what was it on here, like $20,000. I don't want, you don't have to expend $20,000 to start earning with this method, with the proof of stake method. Let me exit out of this stuff, get things to run a little smoother. Okay, we're done with these. All right, so basically in proof of stake, whatever network uses this as their consensus method has what is called a governance token, or the native token of their platform. We went over this in the beginning. Okay, and an example of this would be crypto.com. They have CRO, and Osmosis, they have Osmo. And this governance token will be used to achieve and maintain consensus, the same way that these high computing computers maintain consensus by taking millions and quadrillions of guesses. You stake your crypto to achieve consensus. It's just the achieving consensus is validating blocks within transactions within blocks. So they're known as validator nodes. Okay, these validators are known as validator nodes in proof of stake, or just simply validators, as we can call them too. But proof of stake chains have specific requirements that need to be met in order to be a validator node on that chain, which are out of reach to most individuals. So the same way, you would have to spend that 20 grand to be a validator on the proof of work blockchain. On this blockchain, proof of stake, you have to meet specific requirements, and it's different for every blockchain that has this proof of stake method. And so not every individual can reach it. Same way not every individual can expend 20 grand to start mining on the proof of work blockchain. So for individuals that do not meet the requirements, these complex requirements, they can stake their crypto to one of the nodes that did make the requirements, so that they can still earn with their tokens. The validator nodes on blockchains that use this consensus method are typically chosen at random, so as to keep things decentralized. The more crypto a validator has staked to them in total, the better chance they have of validating a block which will earn them and anyone who is staked to them crypto. Now I want to show you an example of this, because that is probably not going to make sense to the majority of you, especially if you are new to crypto. We kind of covered this a little bit when we did kind of a brief overview of governance staking and how it works. And Osmosis, I think, is the best example of this. It's the most simplistic. So here we are on Osmosis. So to get to the staking portion of this, where you can stake your funds and be a part of the validator nodes that we were just talking about, you can either click on the Keplr wallet and navigate through there, or you can simply click on this stake button here. So we're going to click that. It's going to bring us to another website. And this is the Keplr website, where you can stake your governance tokens to any of the platforms that are allowed on here. This is a platform I personally use. You're not going to see how I use it with because this is the test wallet, and I'm not going to go through showing you all my personal information. But so basically here it is. So right now I'm on the Osmosis chain. So you can stake your tokens here. So if I had Osmo, which is the native token or governance token of Osmosis, I could come here. It would show up right here that I have, let's say, 1 Osmo. I could click here. So and these right here, these are the nodes that I mentioned. So I mentioned that proof of stake chains have specific requirements that need to be met in order to be a validator node on that chain, which are out of reach to most individuals. And these are the validator nodes of Osmosis. So you have Cosmos Station, you have I think close to 100 validator nodes on here. Looks like more than that. 135 validator nodes on here. So out of the millions of people that are using Osmosis, only 135, there can be more than this, only 135 are validator nodes, and that is because of the complexity and some of the requirements are out of reach to the average individual. Now, don't let that deter you. If you want to get into it, do it. Don't let, my opinion of saying that it's complex and the requirements are kind of out there, don't let that stop you or deter you from doing it. Go for it. But yeah, so these are validator nodes. And also, as I mentioned over here on the slide, for the individual that don't meet requirements, they can stake their crypto to one of the nodes that did make the requirements so that they can still earn with their tokens. The validator nodes on blockchains that use this consensus method are typically chosen at random so as to keep things decentralized. But the more crypto a validator has staked to them in total, the better chance they have of validating a block, which will earn them and anyone who is staked to them crypto. So if you see here, you have Cosmos Station. They have 15,237,000, we'll just say 15 million Osmos staked to them. So they're going to have a better chance of validating the next block than someone who has 6 million, right? So that's something to keep in mind. So you'd probably want to don't delegate or stake your crypto, your Osmo, with Cosmos Station because they have more stake to them, so they have a better chance then of achieving consensus and validating the next block in order to achieve consensus. So this is one on my personal wallet I have my Osmo stake to. So this one is, and I also want you to know that there is a certain threshold with these chains. So some of you may be thinking, well, this Cosmos Station, if everybody would just delegate their vote to them, then they would always be validating the next block. If every single one of these 135 nodes would just delegate all of their voting power, their crypto, to this one, then this Cosmos Station would be the only node that would be validating blocks, and so everybody within it would always be earning, right? But that's not right, because that would cause centralization. Cosmos Station would have then all the power, and so they don't want that. So there's like a 10% threshold. With another chain I use, it's a 10% threshold for nodes. They can only, they can only reach a certain threshold. So it might be 10 million threshold that allows them to have a certain, it may be like a 10 million Osmo threshold for them that they can meet. But after that, then their voting power doesn't exceed, but people within that pool can still earn. But you don't need to really know all that. All you need to know is that the more Osmo staked to a node, such as these are all nodes, the higher chance you have of earning. So Cosmos Station has a higher chance of earning and validating a block than Figment. So if you wanted to delegate and stake your Osmo to this one, you would simply click Manage, click Delegate, and then if you had Osmo here, you would simply click how much you wanted to do, click Delegate, and then you would just verify, a notification from Keplr would pop up and ask you to sign the transaction, and you do it. So that's how that works for that one. And I also mentioned how you can do it with many other chains. So if you have Atom, which is the native token of Cosmos, you could stake it here with all of these. So these are all the many different nodes here. Okay, if you had, I don't know, all these, so Secret Network, you have this SCRT as their native token, or their governance token. Crypto.org, Crypto.com, it's the same thing. This is where you can stake CRO to earn. CRO is one I personally have, and with this one you can earn, I believe, up to 16%. But these are all the nodes for Crypto.com. So that is how it works, and there are probably a total of around 20 different chains that are on this wallet, on Keplr wallet, and you can delegate your vote, or delegate and stake your tokens to any single one of these and start earning if you hold it. So that is a really simple way of starting to earn some passive income in here. Like with Crypto.com, you can earn 16% right now. With Osmosis, you can earn about 60% right now. All this is shown in the Keplr wallet extension. You can see all the different, the APY that you're going to be earning. So that's why I like Osmosis a lot, is it's a 60% plus right now APY. So it's paid out daily as well. So lots to earn with this Keplr wallet extension. Definitely, you should already have it installed, and you should already be signed up if you went through the training in one of the first videos, second video. But yeah, so it's pretty basic. And then one last thing I wanted to cover with this is, if you are interested in voting on new proposals on the chain, then as a holder of these tokens, and we went through this in another video, but as a holder of this token, you can vote on up and coming proposals. So here's the most recent proposal. It was to decrease the minimum deposit amount for governance proposals. And the turnout, it was passed. It was passed because the majority of people voted yes. And so the voting is already done. But in the future, things will pop up. Like on Osmosis, let's look at governance. So the most recent proposal for this one was semi-automatic incentive adjustments for 4/24/2022. That's going on right now. So if you hold Osmo, you could vote. I could vote right now and decide whether or not I wanted there to be semi-automatic incentive adjustments. I'm not sure exactly what they're referring to, but nonetheless, if you're interested in that kind of thing, if you're interested in governance and having a vote on the networks that you have the coins for, like Crypto.com or Osmosis, for me personally, then you can do that right through the Keplr wallet. So you can be earning on holding these cryptocurrencies, as well as having a say on what goes on in the system. So that is probably one of the simpler ways of earning some passive income. And something to note is that staking single assets, whether it is through validator staking that we just covered, or methods I'm going to show you in the next video, are probably the safest of the methods I'm going to show you in terms of risk. And there are good rewards available within it. As you can see, that 60% is not something to shy away from, nor the 16%. They're both pretty good. And so finally, I want to get into some strategies. I just showed you the Osmosis strategy. Super simple to do. You already have the Keplr wallet installed. And so basically just going through what I showed you, simply going through the chains on here for the tokens that you hold, by simply staking them, you can then start earning. Okay. And then, so any POS or proof of stake token has the ability to be staked to become a validator on that chain. If you hold a token and are curious as to whether it is proof of stake or not, firstly I would say to you that is something you should know before you invested in that token, right? Any token investment you ever make should be an educated one. Simply put, do your research, no matter the investment. So, but for those of you who have a token right now and don't know whether or not it is proof of stake, simply Google it, and then Google where you can stake it, how you can stake it, etc. This way you are learning to fish and not just being given a fish. So at the end of this course, you shouldn't only have the strategies that I give you and the knowledge of where you can stake these tokens to earn some passive income. You should also have the knowledge to go out and find new platforms and develop your own strategies, so that you're not, obviously I'm going to be updating the course in the future with new strategies and platforms I find, but I want you to be able to leave this course and be able to find your own and to develop your own strategies and essentially just be self-reliant, right? So the final example I want to go through is Cardano. And this is a proof of stake chain that offers rewards for being a validator. All right. And so basically what I did to figure out how to stake Cardano was I went to their website. This is their website. I typed into Google how to stake ADA or Cardano. Cardano is a cryptocurrency I hold. But yeah, I just typed in how do I stake Cardano, and it brought me to their website. I click on their website. I read a little bit, and it showed me that I first need to download a wallet. So I clicked on ADA wallets. It brought me to this page. Okay, and these are the various wallets that you can hold, and by having, or you can set up. By setting up any of these wallets, through these wallets, you can then stake your ADA. So it's as simple as that. It's as simple as Googling how do I stake ADA, how do I stake VeChain, whatever cryptocurrency you have, and you're curious of how you can stake it and where you can stake it. It's as simple as a Google. So it doesn't have to be as complicated as some people make it. But yeah, if you were to download the Uri Wallet, you would click on it, click on the Uri Wallet. It would bring you to this page here. You would download it, and you would pin it to your tab up here. You would simply go through the same method we did when we set up the Keplr wallet, when we set up the metamask wallet. You would simply just go through the steps of writing down your seed phrase, your security phrase, your passwords, whatever else they ask you to set up. You would just do that, and then boom, you have your Uri wallet set up. It's as simple as that. And then you would just send the cryptocurrency that you want to that wallet. With this wallet, I'm not sure if you can purchase through it, but it's as simple as that. You just download this wallet, and then your ADA can then be staked in that wallet, and you can start earning some passive income on it. So it's really that simple. Something I'm going to show you guys as kind of a bonus video is how to send cryptocurrency. So as I kind of go through it, it may seem like, for me personally, it might seem like, when I'm saying these things, like send your cryptocurrency from this place to this place, it might seem very simple to me, but at the same time, I've been in this for 1.5 years, almost 2 years, so what's easy for me may not be so easy for someone who's new to this. So that's something I'm going to add into this course, is how to send crypto from one wallet to another, one exchange to another, because I can understand that would be a little complicated, and I want you guys to be able to walk away from this course with the knowledge to do everything that I show you in this course, to do everything that you need to do to start developing your own strategies and start fishing. Like we talked about, I want you to be able to learn how to fish and not just be given a fish. So that's something we're going to go through, is how to send wallet from one cryptocurrency address to another. So, and that statement in itself might have been confusing to you, so that's why I wanted to show you that. And that'll probably be at the end of the course. I will show you how to send cryptocurrency from one wallet to the next. Actually, no, it will not be at the end of the course. Just made up my mind. It's going to be in one of the next few videos, because I want you to be able to walk along with me and be able to do exactly what I'm doing and learn through doing and not just reading and watching. So, and yeah, that's actually just going to be the next video. And so as far as risks, the risks involved with this, you have smart contract issues. So this is something we covered with insurance, why we can get DeFi insurance, but the smart contract issues, these are inherent with anything DeFi, because it's all based around smart contracts, and these smart contracts can have bugs. We talked about this in the loans section of risks. But while audits and bug bounties can significantly mitigate risk, there will always remain an inherent risk with all smart contracts in DeFi. So look to see if you can find DeFi insurance for the staking pool you're entering, whether it's through Keplr, whether it's for ADA, no matter the cryptocurrency you're using and trying to stake, just see if there's an insurance that you can get for that protocol. It's worth a shot. And so that would be one way to mitigate risk. But yeah, my point is, while audits, because there are auditing platforms out there that are used to ensure that there are no issues with smart contracts and bugs in them, they're not always 100% accurate. So secondly, second risk is the rewards or APY that you see with these things. So the 60% I mentioned with Keplr, or the 16% I mentioned. When you see these in governance staking, and when you are staking anywhere in general, when you're staking in any pool, any strategy I'm going to show you, when they tell you it's going to be a certain APY, these are estimates and are not guaranteed. So do not rely upon them. You know, do not, it's not guaranteed. So do not, you know, think that that is going to cover an expense that you are, just don't put yourself in a risky position is all I'm trying to say. Do not put yourself in an financially uncomfortable or financially risky situation, because those rewards are not guaranteed. And then lastly, you have the asset risk. And this is just a very basic risk. This is the inherent risk that you assume when you hold a cryptocurrency of any kind. So that could be Osmo, that could be CRO, that could be VeChain or ADA, anything. Okay, when you invest in these cryptocurrencies, that risk is the chance of the token going to zero or lower than you had bought into the cryptocurrency in the first place. So let's say you bought ADA when it was at $1 and it goes down to 50 cents, you just lost half of your investment. And that is the inherent risk. That is the asset risk, the basic risk that you assume when you get into any of this. So that's it for this video. The next video is going to be how to send one cryptocurrency from one wallet to another, from one exchange to another. I want you to be educated on that, and I want you to know exactly what you're doing. So that's going to be the next video. I will see you there.